Hey guys! Welcome back to our channel, the Eaton Squad. My name is Addie. So on today's video is the specific quarantine protocol for Cebu-bound passengers. Details coming right. So there has been an overwhelming update if you guys are traveling to the Philippines, particularly landing in Mactan-Cebu International Airport. One day, there's this memorandum released by the governor of Cebu. Then the next day, there's a new update again for residents only and non-residents of Cebu. So it's confusing on which is which really to follow. So in this video, we will be talking about the specific quarantine protocol to all passengers bound in Cebu. We will tackle one by one on what really is the quarantine protocol now when you land in Cebu, if you are a Cebu resident, if you are not a Cebu resident, or if you are a foreign national landing in Mactan-Cebu International Airport. So let's get to it. All international arriving passengers at Mactan-Cebu International Airport shall observe the applicable arrival protocols in adherence to the Executive Order Number 17 issued by the Cebu Provincial Government on March 31, 2021, and the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases or IATF Resolution Number 114 issued on May 7 of 2021. So if you guys are confused with this, the Memorandum Number 17, this is the memo released by Governor Guen to all Cebu-bound passengers, specifically for Cebu resident. For Cebu resident, you guys will be following the Executive Order Number 17. This is if you are residing in Cebu Province, Cebu City, Mandaue City, and Lapu-Lapu City. The Executive Order from IATF 117, this is applicable to those non-resident of Cebu. For example, you are coming from the US, you will be landing in Mactan-Cebu International Airport, but your final destination is to Davao. You will have to follow the IATF Resolution 117. I will give you guys the specifics of this Memorandum Number 17 and IATF Resolution 117. They also have travel advisory that foreign nationals will follow if you guys are landing in Cebu. We will talk about that on this video. I will also be inserting a clip during the press conference with the Governor of Cebu, Governor Guen. So we will lay all that out for your reference, especially to all Cebu-bound passengers. Mandatory in swab testing and quarantine protocols. All arriving Filipino passengers shall be swabbed upon arrival free of charge, while permitted foreign nationals shall shoulder the cost of testing at 901 pesos. Specific quarantine protocols shall apply depending on the final destination of the passenger. Number 1, for passengers bound for Cebu, this is for Cebu Province, Cebu City, Mandaue City, and Lapu-Lapu City, refer to Executive Order Number 17 and Memorandum issued on May 13 of 2021. So to all Cebu-bound passengers, especially if you are residing in Cebu, you are a resident of Cebu, Cebu Province, Cebu City, Mandaue City, and Lapu-Lapu City, you will follow the Executive Order Number 17 and Memorandum that was issued on May 13 of 2021. So let's go over what this Executive Number 17 entails. Governor Gwendolyn Garcia signed tonight Executive Order Number 17 that defines the protocols for repatriated overseas Filipino workers or OFWs and returning non-OFWs traveling to the province of Cebu. They shall no longer be required to undergo mandatory quarantine unless their RT-PCR test results turns out positive. They shall only be required to, number 1, accomplish the online Mactan-Cebu International Airport passenger registration form via MCIA's website. Number 2, undergo an RT-PCR test upon their arrival at the airport to be administered by the Department of Health or DOH. This is free of charge. Then number 3, secure a pre-booked hotel room where they will be staying while waiting for the RT-PCR swab test result. Upon release of a negative RT-PCR test result, they shall be allowed to go home. No other requirements shall be imposed by their local government unit of destination under Cebu Province in this regard. Should the RT-PCR test result turns out positive, the DOH health protocols for the treatment of COVID-19 positive individuals should be followed. So to all Cebu-bound passengers, especially if you are a resident of Cebu Province, Cebu City, Lapu-Lapu City, and Mandaue City, you don't have to do the 10 days mandatory quarantine anymore. You will be swabbed upon arrival at the airport. Then you will be staying in a quarantine facility or hotel while you are waiting for your swab test result. Then when your swab test result is in and it turns out negative, you will be sent home. So to those who are asking, hey, I am a resident of Cebu, but why is it that we are still on our day 4 in quarantine? This memorandum took effect last May 13 of 2021. So if you arrived in Cebu before May 13, then you will have to follow the old protocol. So I hope we are clear on that. That quarantine protocol is for Cebu residents only. This is for Cebu Province residents, Cebu City residents, Mandaue City residents, and Lapu-Lapu City residents. That is your quarantine protocol when you go home to the Philippines and landing in Mactan-Cebu International Airport. So number 2 is for passengers bound for destinations outside Cebu. So for those non-resident of Cebu, you will have to follow the IATF Resolution 114. So what does the IATF Resolution 114 entails? Upon the recommendation of small working group on testing and quarantine protocols, the following protocols shall hereinafter be observed for all inbound travelers to the Philippines, regardless of vaccination status in all ports of entry. Number 1, all arriving travelers shall undergo 14-day quarantine upon arrival, the first 10 days of which shall be observed in a quarantine facility, with the remainder to be completed under home quarantine in their respective government units of destination. Number 2, RT-PCR testing shall be conducted on the 7th day, with day 1 being the day of arrival. Notwithstanding a negative test result, the arriving traveler shall complete the facility-based quarantine period of 10 days. And number 3, the Bureau of Quarantine shall ensure strict symptom monitoring while in the facility quarantine for 10 days. So if you are a non-resident of Cebu City, this is what you guys are going to follow. The 10 days quarantine applies. But there was a new memorandum that the governor of Cebu has posted last May 12 or May 13. I am not sure which date. But the new memorandum for the non-resident of Cebu, upon arrival at the Mactan-Cebu International Airport, you will be undergoing the swab testing. Then you will proceed to your hotel for quarantine. The new memorandum says, when your RT-PCR swab test result turns out negative, coordinate with your LGU and continue your quarantine the remainder of the 14 days mandatory quarantine at home. This should be monitored by your LGU. This was the new memorandum released by Governor Gwen last May 13 of 2021. And you can continue the remainder of the mandatory 14-day quarantine in your final destination. But you have to have a confirmed flight to your final destination. So please take note of that.
Ang katong dili mga Cebuanos will have to show proof sa ilang itinerary kay they are considered transients, muuli sila sa ilang mga probinsya, sa ilang mga syudad outside of Cebu. And they will have to subject themselves to the health protocols of that local government unit. Which means, on the 7th day, kung kinahanglan sila i-quarantine, mo ipagbuot sa LGU, di i-quarantine, mo man ang IATF. On the 7th day, i-test. Complete the 14 days, that's up to the local government unit. Diri sa Cebu, ang mga Cebuanos, inigabot, i-swab, sad, pagkagawa sa resulta, they will be made to go home to their LGUs. Mauli sila. Home quarantine, and on the 7th day, we will include that, they will be swabbed again. Free of charge by the DOH. Effectively manage the arrival of overseas Filipino workers and returning overseas Filipinos at the Mactan-Cebu International Airport, not from Cebu. For those that OFWs and ROFs, not from Cebu, the following shall be observed. Upon check-in at the place of departure of the OFW and ROF, not from Cebu, they shall present the following: a letter of acceptance from their local government unit of destination that shall contain a commitment that they shall comply with the reasonable health protocols of said LGU of destination. For ROFs, proof of their connecting flight from Cebu to their LGU of destination. OFWs need not present proof of their connecting flights, as OWA shall arrange sweeper flights for their return to their LGU of destination. It is now, ang OWA na mo arrange for OFWs. Now, OFWs and ROFs without the aforementioned requirements shall not be allowed entry into Cebu. OFWs and ROFs not from Cebu shall be subjected to an RT-PCR test upon their arrival, as with everyone nga moabot from any of the international flights. Upon release of a negative RT-PCR test result, said OFWs and ROFs shall stay in their hotel or in the designated holding area in the MCIA until their next flight, despite having a negative RT-PCR test result. OFWs and ROFs from Cebu shall observe the provisions of Executive Order number 17, Series of 2021, and Provincial Ordinance number 2021-04. An amendment to this would be, in my executive order, would be the requirement for a swab on the 7th day to be administered for free by the DOH for all of those for all of our returning Filipinos from Cebu, and as well as OFWs.
So on the Mactan-Cebu International Airport website, they also have a specific quarantine for arriving foreign nationals. They said refer to Immigration Advisory dated April 30 of 2021. This advisory contains to at least pre-book a hotel at least for 7 nights. This doesn't make sense sometimes because foreign nationals are considered non-resident if they are not residing in Cebu. So the new memorandum from Governor Gwen still applies to them, that they will be swabbed upon arrival at the airport, then proceed to the hotel for quarantine while you are waiting for your swab test result. Then when your swab test result is in and it turns out negative, this will be coordinated with your LGU. Then you can proceed to your final destination and finish up the remainder of your 14-day mandatory quarantine. So I am not sure why was this posted, because it just gets confusing to our viewers that it has been separated for residents and non-residents. To all foreign nationals arriving in Cebu who are non-residents, the memorandum of Governor Gwen that was posted May 13 should be followed. And to those residents of Cebu shall follow the Executive Order number 17, the ones we just mentioned earlier. So I hope we are clear on that. I hope we are not confused on those two executive orders issued by Cebu and issued by the IATF. Because the governor of Cebu like she said, she's not really taking sides, but she is not in control with those non-residents of Cebu. That's why non-residents of Cebu has to follow the national protocol, which is the IATF resolution, which is the 10 days mandatory quarantine in a hotel or facility, then finish up the remainder of your 14-day quarantine in your final destination. And so that is the current quarantine protocol in Cebu. So heads up to all Cebu-bound passengers, especially to those who are resident and non-resident. Please be guided accordingly. These are the protocols that you need to follow if you are landing in Mactan-Cebu International Airport. I hope I was able to explain it properly. I hope I was able to make it clear, especially to residents and non-residents of Cebu, on what to follow when it comes to their quarantine protocol. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you find this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family whom you know that can use this video as reference. If you are new to our channel, welcome. We do travel updates, and if you're not a subscriber yet, please consider subscribing and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you will be notified on updates like this. And to our subscribers and new subscribers, thank you so much for the continued support and trust to our channel, the Eaton Squad. I hope to see you guys on our next travel update. Stay safe, stay healthy, and God bless everyone. Bye.